Hey family, thank you for joining me. So I wanted to bring another video about my recent adventure in California and Las Vegas. So this is part two of the video. Um, so I was in the airport and booked my flight back to my destination, my final destination. Um, and I was gonna have to take a flight Wednesday night. That was Tuesday night, so it would have been, you know, I couldn't find other flights on that airline. Nothing else was really coming out of there. And a friend of mine was saying something which I think is pretty interesting, that it was a couple nights before the 4th of July. So it would have been July 2nd, and we would have been getting out of there by July 3rd. Now, I'm sure that there are a lot of people that they told, well, you'll have to pay if you want to, book the flight. And they said, okay, because they wanted to get out of there. And ironically, I thought it was pretty interesting. There are no flights going out that night. So, and there are a lot of people, dust storm, a lot of flights. People missed connecting flights. And I'm thinking to myself, were they, could have been a conspiracy if we think about it. Like, were they just trying to hustle people, just trying to make money, like my friend said? Could have been a lot of things that are going on, which that would have been pretty mean and evil. But it could have been a way to make a lot of money, make twice the money on a flight. Um, but I said no, I wasn't paying because it wasn't fair since it wasn't my fault. The dust storm happened and it was an act of God. So they ended up booking another flight for free, and they really didn't say anything to me, but a lot of other people, they probably were trying to get them to pay for it. But the people on the phone, like when one of the guys that I met talked to customer service, they were telling him, you'll have to pay this much money. And I was like, no, I was helping him because his English was not too great, but I was helping him, and I was telling the representative, no, all of us are in the same situation. We got our flights rebooked for free, so it's not fair that he would have to pay. And they said, well, talk to the airline. And so he ended up getting his flight rebooked for free and got a refund. And so it all worked out. But I was saying, all I could say is on both sides of it, be fair. Don't try to just run over people because it'll come back to you. But he was saying that he lost a lot of money that night, and he ended up getting reimbursed, I think, for everything. So, um, okay. So I was talking to some people, including him, and just asking, what's going on? Was everyone okay? Because I'm checking on other people. As human beings, that's what a lot of us do. So I was asking, is like, are you okay? He had this really distressed look on his face, and he was telling me, about the situation. He was supposed to be in another state, and, in New York, and he, had spent a lot of money for a place to stay and stuff. And so I was saying, I said they'll reimburse you. Don't worry about it. But he was still worried. So he's talking to customer service and this one and that one. And, because he said, no, they got to do something about this flight. And all of us, like I said, there were no flights going out that night. And so, um, well, I didn't want to stay there in the airport all night. I wanted to kind of look around and see, because they had slot machines in the Vegas airport. So I wanted to go check that out. And I'd said I was going to go check it out, but also I looked at hotel rooms because I said I don't want to stay here all night. And so I said I can go to a hotel because I don't really want to stay. here at the airport all night. So I actually saw some really cheap rooms in the hotels nearby, and I didn't know we were just a couple miles from the Vegas Strip. So ended up going, and I talked to the guy, like I said, and he said, well, why don't we wait? You know, they said they'll give us vouchers if they can. So why don't we wait? Some of us could get together and go together, you know, if we go to the hotels. I said, okay, but we it was an hour plus past. They didn't get in touch with us, and they had told me if they are going to give you something, it'll probably be an hour, if not, call back. So I ended up just saying, forget it. I'll just go, you know, I'm gonna go. At first I said I'm gonna go check out the slot machines downstairs or wherever it was in the airport, and, you know, have some fun over there, and then I'll probably go. So the guy, I talked to him and I said, well, let me give you my number. We'll just go to, you know, I'm gonna go check out some slot machines and stuff, and I was looking at hotels too. And he was like, no, 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 wait, okay, let's do it then. Let's just go. And he was talking to another guy. And so all three of us were like, hey, do you want to go? Yeah, let's go. Okay, where do we want to go? And I was the one who chose where to go. We ended up going to this place, and I wanted to go to the MGM Grand, but the MGM Grand was more expensive than that, was like twice as much, but it still wasn't that expensive for, you know, Las Vegas on the strip. But I was like, well, and then the guy was like, it's, you know, let's just get a pretty cheap place. We're not going to be there that long. We could go have some fun. You know, there's a casino there. You know, looks like a pretty decent place. Okay, let's go. So I said, okay. So we shared an Uber. Three of us ended up going. We all went to the hotel. The lady, when we got there, was saying that basically they'll let us check in anytime because she heard about the situation, that everyone got stranded pretty much at the airport. And so they were saying, we'll let you check in, you know, whatever time, because it was like probably 3 in the morning or something like that at that point. So we checked in, went and I was just messing around the casino, whatever, had a good time. I was like, there was so many machines. Like there was a roulette table, there was Texas Hold'em, there was horse races, or, you know, sports betting and all this stuff. And there was so much stuff to see in Vegas. Like I go outside and, you know, of course I see the lights and everything, and I see the MGM Grand is right next to us, and in a connecting building, you know, and this, you know, this place, that place, like all the stuff that you see basically on the movies. And I was like, what? I'm here. So I was here. I wanted to make the most of it in Vegas. I took pictures and sent them to family, and it was just exciting to be there. So I would have, you know, I might not have done it for a long time if I'd just been going, you know, just me and or friends or family or whatever. So I was telling my sister, I saw this the next day. Well, it was the next day, but you know what I mean. It was dark when it got to be daytime. I went out walking, saw the New Kids on the Block store, the Blockhead store, um, have all their merchandise and stuff in there, and people could go in there. And I was telling her there's a line out the door around the corner. I was not about to stand in that line, but people were so excited to get in. I went, you know, down the street a little. There was shopping. There was a Target. There's Ross. There's all the different stores, Gucci, and so on. Just Hard Rock Hotel was down there. Um, there was so much different stuff down there in Vegas. Everything that really, if you wanted to, you know, just get basic food and stuff like that, and go out to eat at a, you know, restaurant or whatever. There are choices there. I eat healthy, so I eat organic, and I wasn't going to eat anything at a restaurant or anything around there, so I ended up getting an Uber to go to. I found a Whole Foods within 5 miles. Actually, it was from our hotel within 3 miles or so of the hotel. Um, but I walked already about a mile, and so I took the Uber from there, went to Whole Foods and got what I wanted, water and stuff, came back and found a place to sit and just chill. And after I, brought some stuff back to the hotel room, I went, sat down and chilled and ate and drank my stuff. Um, and I was just chilling, kind of, you know, messing around with the machines again and just looking around more and just, there was so much there. Um, and ended up then, after a while, was watching more like sports betting stuff, went back to the room. And around that time, it was close to the time actually that we ended up leaving because the other guy had not booked his flight. But I was encouraging him to go sooner than later because when he called, customer service, I was mentioning this before. It said he would have to pay to rebook. And I said, no, no, they're not going to make you rebook or pay to rebook. But at the time, I didn't know he had also got a refund. Then he did get a refund, but once he got to the airport, they actually did rebook for free as well. So he ended up getting, free ticket and his money back. Um, and so it all worked out for him, but he was excited. He hugged me and then we got ready to go. The other guy, the third guy, I booked all my stuff first, checked in and everything, and then um, I was waiting for them to make sure they were okay. Everything was okay with them. So the one guy said he was going to go ahead and go to the gate, and the other guy was going to be getting a flight that was leaving just before the other two of us. So he got his flight, like I said, but rebooked for free and went ahead and he was waiting for me for a while. I was on the phone calls. I have a Wednesday meeting, got off the phone call, and I was like, all right, let's go. We might as well go ahead through security. So he got caught up in security for some reason. They were bothering him. But excuse me, we got ready to go, and I said, you'll be boarding right now. So he probably, it's about an hour before his flight. So I said he probably should go ahead and go. But for us, it was, we still got delayed another almost 2 hours anyway. So we left at almost 1 a.m. Um, but so I waited for a while, sat down, was listening to videos and stuff on my phone and just chilling out, spending time by myself or as much as possible because there's a million strangers around you, but not around anyone that I knew. I was just kind of able to recharge, sit, not talk to anyone. um and then once I went back over by the gate that I was supposed to leave from, would be leaving from, I found the other guy that I was talking to, and we talked and talked for a long time until we got ready to leave for the flight. We got um, on the plane, and it was a pretty relatively short flight, I'll say. And we got there, and no issues or anything like that. Got back to my destination. I was supposed to go to work in a couple of hours from the time I touched down. So I had to go to the grocery store, brought my stuff back, unpacked, did everything, took a shower, got ready, went to work, saw a full day of clients pretty much. And that's it. I'm here to tell you the tale that, like I said, it was a debacle. We were delayed for hours in both locations, but it ended up being a blessing, a wonderful time. The people that I talked to um, was around, got to hang out with at the casino. It was just a great time. And I wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for being stranded in California and then Las Vegas. And one of the guys that I was talking to was saying, maybe it was something that was trying to stop us from meeting. because I think we were all meant to meet each other. We really were functioning like a family. That we were, it was looking out for each other. For me, I do that. Try to make sure that other people are okay, that they get what they need and all that. If they need help, I try to help them, and we could all learn something from each other, grow, just have great conversation, just thinking in the same way or whatever. And it turned out to be a really good time with people who are strangers who we were treating each other like family, like I said. And like I said, I wouldn't have had that if I didn't get stranded there. So I'm grateful to God for every experience that I had there, for the people that I met, talked to, um, everything that happened. I'm grateful. It was a lesson that you could find a way to work together with even total strangers and end up having a great time. I was excited, I have a heart for adventure, and so I'm like, ooh, we're going to the casino, we're gonna gamble, we're gonna have some fun. I wasn't really gambling per se. I was messing around with the machines and ended up playing a few little slots, but more than that, it was just me enjoying myself, having a good time, and it wouldn't have happened without um, this incident, without going to see my family first and then, going back to the airport. And so, again, I'm grateful to God for everything that happened. I hope that you all have adventures as well. If you know something about the Aries, um, is my zodiac sign. We love adventures. We love, doing different things, going different places, meeting new people. We do things at the spur of the moment and make the best of it. And it ends up being some of the best times that we ever have because we're an adventurous spirit. And I think it probably made it better for other people too, that I was excited, like, yeah, we're going to get, I was all excited and happy, like, we're going to the casino. And I was laughing and joking about the shows that were there. This one show was called The Thunder Down Under. And I mean, I'm sure the thunder from down under, something like that. I'm sure you could guess what it is, guys, performing and stuff. And I didn't go to any of the shows or anything like that. I was just taking it all in and like laughing about it. And we're all just talking about the different shows that would be available there. And I was wondering, like, is there anyone performing? Is any, Christina Aguilera or anyone like that? But I saw, on the billboards that New Kids on the Block would be coming there, that Motley Crue would be coming there eventually soon, and just different acts would be coming to perform. But I thought it was all very exciting to be there. And I feel like I got good experience there. I'd never really had the time to spend, um, well, I hadn't had the chance, I'll say, to spend a lot of time in Las Vegas, but now knowing what I know, I feel like, it was a good experience. Would I do it again? Um, I don't have to. It was just exciting to be there and see the lights and all that stuff, and it was an experience. So it was actually pretty great. So I'm glad that I did it again and looking forward to the next adventure soon. So look out for more videos from me talking about my new adventures coming up. I'm excited, and I will try to bring you another video soon. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my adventure as well, because I know I did in the end. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get off, and thank you again for joining me. As always, happy lightning fast manifesting, and I'm going to talk to you on the next one. All right. Bye for now.